Hey, noble ones, it's our favorite background NPC again. Why do they keep doing this? Doing what?
So, this past week, I saw 3 different video game adaptation
Okay.
announcements, and one of them sent me down quite the rabbit hole. We
Rabbit
got
hole.
the Legend of Zelda live action casting news, which actually
Pretty
looks
good.
pretty promising,
Yeah, pretty good, pretty good.
by the way. And then Netflix reminded us that they still have that Assassin's Creed show in the works.
Goodness
Yikes,
gracious.
and
Oh, no.
apparently a Mortal Kombat 2 trailer dropped. Now, I had seen tons of posts about the Zelda casting, but I genuinely had no idea if there was even a Mortal Kombat trailer until I was scrolling on social media one night before bed and happened across it.
Why is Jade a bold bro? Oh no, they're messing up with Mortal Kombat. It's literally the destruction of everything we ever cherished and loved. It's gotta be destroyed. Western studios, Western developers, Western everything. It's a bane of our memories. It's literally the most dystopic reality I could have ever imagined and beyond.
Video with over 900,000 views asking one very specific question.
Please.
Why is Jade bald? I thought, huh? And pulled up the trailer. Basically, that single question sparked the idea for this whole video because it made me think, shoot, here we go again. At this point, I don't know how many times they've done this to us,
Yeah.
but I would really love for it to stop.
Yeah,
So,
they need to lose everything they've ever got. They need to lose so much money and go into complete and utter bankruptcy. Then and only then, maybe.
bald Jade. To be totally honest with
That's
you,
not
I'm
Jade.
not a massive Mortal Kombat fan. And like I said, the only reason I even knew this trailer dropped was because my entire timeline just exploded. Everyone was
Yeah,
talking about Jade being bald, but even I, someone who isn't all that familiar with the franchise, still know that Jade
Oh, gosh, look. What is wrong with these people? Why do they have to uglify everything?
is a super iconic female character.
course.
I've seen her all throughout the franchise
there you
over
go.
the years, and this whole bald thing was really confusing me. So I did what any reasonable person would do. I went digging through
Please.
30 years of Mortal Kombat history. And you know what I found? At no point during any
Of course.
adaptation, any game, anything, was Jade ever without hair.
They don't
Not
care.
once.
They don't
In 3
care.
decades. Here's the kicker. This got so much attention that one of the movie's producers actually responded to a tweet about the whole thing. And
Oh.
his answer was essentially,
The mob.
you'll have to wait and see what the reason is. I'm sorry.
Clown.
What? You
Clown.
developed
He
lore?
called it the mob. The mob is your fan base, is the fans of the series, you absolute clown. The people that made it successful. No gratitude at all.
about making her bald? I don't know. Is this some sort of reverse engineering of the
course
tough
it
girl
is.
pipeline
Yeah.
where characters now grow their hair out instead of cutting it off? Because that would be refreshing. And I'm sure this is completely unrelated, but let me just show you a few
Yeah.
other recent projects this
Come
actress
on.
has been in, including that upcoming Naughty Dog game where
Oh my gosh, she's bald! She's bald and she's torturing people who have hair!
But I'm sure that's
Hey.
just a total coincidence, right? With this brand new introduction of Jade's mysterious hair lore. You know what's even more wild about this whole thing? The media's reaction. I was reading some of their responses to fans questioning Jade's newfound baldness, and I happened to also come across this article about the Legend of Zelda live action casting. And honestly, the comparison between the two is just chef's kiss. This same publication, while shaming fans for not accepting the modernized Jade, a character that's been established for decades, was
Yeah.
also simultaneously complaining about a missed opportunity on Nintendo's part, saying that they should have cast a certain actor for the role of Princess Zelda.
Yeah, casting Hunter. You know, I'm glad that they didn't cast Hunter for the role of Zelda. You know why? Because Zelda, Princess Zelda, in the lore is a female. Therefore, I would suggest that a female were to take the part. Call me whatever you want, who cares? Hey, editing Metatron over here, you can definitely tell I'm not film ready, I'm a mess. Anyways, just wanted to give you, there is a massive update. So as many of you know, I've been writing my first book, and it's a project that I have crowdfunded, and the crowdfunding, in fact, it's still going. In fact, let me take a second to say thank you to the 200 kind souls that believed in the idea of me becoming an author and decided to help me kickstart my campaign. Anyways, there is a link in the description to this crowdfunding because I posted an update which contains the preface of the book, and I've been writing for about 3, sometimes 4 hours every day, and the book is looking really good. We're ahead of schedule. So yes, it is happening. You will find a link to read the preface, and then I'll post the full introduction in the next few days, maybe give me one week, and then eventually I'll post a full free chapter for you to review and check out to see if you're interested. And of course, if any of you wishes to support this project of me becoming an author, man, I'm so excited about it. It's just $5. It's just $5 donation. And yeah, thanks again. Back to the video.
Because it was a perfect match. It's almost sad at this point. The blatant double standard that they just can't seem to see. When it fits the narrative, visual accuracy is super important. When it doesn't, suddenly fans are the problem for calling it out. This, of course, all ties into things that have been happening across Western media for years now, and these live-action adaptations just make it so painfully obvious. At the heart of all of this...
The current casting, by the way, when it comes to Zelda and Link, they say it looks like a Nazi party. Because, of course, these are the same people. They call you a racist if you say anything that isn't racist, but it's even pointing out anything, like Cleopatra wasn't black racist. But then they look at like a blonde girl and a blonde guy and say, oh, that's Nazism. The Jews won't replace us. Seriously?
It really seems like so many of the people making these adaptations don't actually have respect for the source material.
Thank you.
Or for us, the audience. At this point, it even feels like active contempt. On just the storytelling end of this, it's almost this attitude of, we know better. They look at these beloved characters and worlds that have made billions of dollars and created passionate fan bases and somehow think, yeah, but we can improve this. We can modernize it. For a while now, that modernizing always seems to mean the same thing.
The message, absolutely, it's all about political pandering and political indoctrination of the masses, particularly the youth. And in general, the idea of we'll destroy everything you love because it will turn it into what we think is acceptable. And then, yeah, so if you still want to play the game, now you need to get the indoctrination.
In some lecture or unwanted ideologies that don't serve the story or characters. They don't do it because it makes narrative sense. They do it because someone decided the original wasn't progressive enough for their mythical modern audience. Here's the thing. We've already connected with these characters and worlds. We already love them just the way they are. We've spent hundreds, sometimes thousands of hours with them. When you improve them by making unnecessary changes or stripping away what made them special in the first place, you're essentially telling us that our love was misplaced, that we were wrong to care about them as they were, and that your new versions are better.
And also, it actually makes us hate their message even more. So if anything, it's backfiring. It is creating it's widening the cultural divide.
They are actually what we should care about instead. Nowhere is this more obvious than with HBO's The Last of Us.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I know some of you out there enjoyed The Last of Us, and if you did, I respectfully question your taste and ask you to please cover your ears for this next part. I just couldn't get there. And it wasn't just one thing. It was everything.
You and me, absolutely. I think this was the cringiest moment, by the way. When she says, I'm going to be a dad, it's the cringiest moment in the history of cinematography.
The whole show. Before it even released, I could not get behind the casting at all for pretty much any character. The only person who felt right to me was Marlene.
I can see that. She looks the same.
And how could she not? It's the same actress that played her in the game,
I didn't know.
Of course she felt authentic. But the checkbox casting was honestly just the beginning of my issues. Then there were the story changes that made everything worse. How the infection spreads, Tess's death, weird time jumps, and of course the foundational changes made to Joel and Ellie, starting with what they did to Joel's character. Right off the bat, they completely softened him. Game Joel was morally ambiguous, closed off, pragmatically violent. That's what made him so compelling. He wasn't
In the first game. The second game was a complete, total propaganda machine for LGBTQ causes that in the first 5 minutes of the game, I'm already hearing people being called bigots. Bigots! The Last of Us 2. Gameplay was fun. But man, when I talk about Abby... Seriously, who liked Abby? If you liked Abby, you need professional help.
depicted as a hero, but as a multi-layered, complicated man that the player got to know over time. But the show took all of that away and turned him into this weird, emotional, soft, one-dimensional version that had completely lost all of that hard edge. And the biggest problem with this is that by doing that, by fundamentally changing his character throughout the whole show, you destroy his entire character arc.
No, I mean, yes, I agree with you, but no, what they're doing in their mind is destroying his toxic masculinity.
His relationship with Ellie in the game is powerful because it's a bond that shouldn't have formed. He starts out rude, closed off, and then slowly opens up over the course of a year. When Joel makes a joke with Ellie or shows any vulnerability, it means something because the game had earned those moments. The show, on the other hand, wanted all the emotional payoff without doing any of the work to get there. And then there's Ellie. Again, Ellie. Right off the bat, they turned her into this combative character who's activated by violence. Their word, not mine. The showrunners literally said Ellie gets excited when Joel beats someone to death.
Oh yeah, she'd probably be happy with Charlie Kirk's assassination, by the way they wrote her. A bigot deserved it, a bigot.
Because it shows their magnets destined to click together. That's just weird and not Ellie at all. Game Ellie is consumed by survivor's guilt.
In the first one.
She's terrified of being alone. She's deeply empathetic. She doesn't like violence. She's disturbed by it. And all of this only adds to her development by the time we get into the meat of part 2. Because
maybe I should close Facebook.
again, you have this really impactful arc of who she was in the first game versus how much she's grown and changed since then. But the show decided to make a total mockery of all of that. To me, the whole thing felt like character assassination. Like someone looked at these beloved, complex characters and said, yeah, but what if we made them more likable? What if we made Joel softer so he's more immediately sympathetic? What if we made Ellie more aggressive so she seems stronger? Like,
yeah, that doesn't make her more likable. That makes her into annoying, I'm the strong bully woman, but then she's going to be a dad.
Why? If that's totally different from the actual characters they're supposed to be. Why are we doing that? And I think this really came to the surface in season 2 because it became so clear that this wasn't just about adapting the story.
You actually are pretty handsome? Oh, tonight they're using handsome on a woman if she identifies as a man. What a bunch of clowns.
It was this active contempt and disrespect for the original work. And honestly, for the audience too. The Last of Us isn't the only one. Look at the Borderlands movie. They completely missed on the casting, story development, and irreverent tone that made those games special. Or the Halo show, where the creators openly admitted they hadn't played the games, and then stripped Master Chief of everything that made him iconic. Taking his helmet off constantly, making him emotional and rebellious, they turned him into just some guy. It's this pattern of...
I mean, I haven't seen it, but I can see how she's explaining it. Makes perfect sense,
We can improve this. That keeps happening, and it's exhausting. But here's what gives me hope. Some studios out there actually do get it. We've all seen firsthand that when creators understand what makes these worlds special, when they have genuine love for the source material, you can feel it immediately. Like, I knew literally nothing about League of Legends before Arcane, but I was emotionally destroyed by Vi and Jinx within the first 3 episodes.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I didn't watch the whole thing, but the episodes I watched a few. and it was pretty well done, yeah.
And I knew that I was watching something very special. It was so obvious that the people behind the show wanted nothing more than to celebrate the characters that fans loved so much. And that's exactly what happened. Riot, with the help of Fortiche, put true love, care, and appreciation into what they created. And across the internet, you will basically find nothing but praise and love for their adaptation. That's what a good adaptation looks like, taking what's already there and building on it with love. The animation was gorgeous, the voice acting was incredible, and every character felt so real and genuine. You could tell how much getting this right meant to Riot. They looked at their game characters and said, how can we show people why we love these characters so much? Or look at Cyberpunk Edgerunners. David and Lucy weren't even game characters, but it still felt like Night City. All that corporate dystopia, the body modification obsession, the way technology both elevates and destroys people. Studio Trigger brought their signature animation style, but completely respected what the world actually is. CD Projekt Red was obviously working with them pretty closely, and by the end, you genuinely cared about characters you'd never heard of before just because of how much respect and care went into telling the story. And then there's Sonic. When that first design dropped with those horrifying human teeth, they could have doubled down and said, this is our artistic vision. Deal with it. But instead, they actually listened to fans instead of turning on them. They went back to the drawing board, spent more money, delayed the movie, and gave us a Sonic that actually looked like Sonic.
Agreed.
They humbled themselves, admitted they were wrong, and gave us an authentic version of the character we all know and love.
That's great, because it would have been another Concorde.
That's what respecting your audience looks like.
Agreed.
That's what happens when you care more about getting it right than protecting your ego. And you might notice that
Or spreading the political message.
all my examples here are essentially coming from animated adaptations. Yes, Sonic is live action, but we're just talking about his animated design.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm still waiting for a live action adaptation that really nailed it. I feel like we still haven't gotten that.
Maybe
but
Zelda.
please let me know if I'm forgetting one. I know people have praised Fallout. For me, there were still quite a few misses in that show. And it was unfortunately enough to overshadow anything they might have done right. And then I know The Witcher was technically a book adaptation, so I won't even go down that road. I mean, are we really to the point where the Minecraft movie is our gold standard for live actions? Getting back on track, this all
She's adorable.
comes down to respect. Respect for the source material and respect for the audience.
Totally.
Respecting the source material means working with established lore instead of constantly fighting against it. Understanding that these are characters people have spent hundreds of hours with. When you adapt a game, you're not just borrowing names and faces, you're inheriting relationships that fans have built with these worlds. It can be as simple as getting the costume right, keeping a character's signature weapon, understanding their core personality traits, or, making sure they have hair when they're supposed to have hair. Of course, I'm not saying you can't make any changes. I know sometimes you have to adapt things for different mediums, but when you do make changes, they should feel like they're coming from a place of understanding.
And not a place of propaganda.
If you can't easily justify those changes to the fan base in a way that makes sense and feels natural, then you're probably missing something important about why people fell in love with the characters in the first place.
Not to mention they call those audiences mob. Then there is a problem, isn't there?
Respecting the audience also means acknowledging that we're not dumb, okay? We know these worlds. We understand the lore. We can tell when you've done your homework and when you haven't. It also means that when fans point out something that looks or feels off, you listen, instead of dismissing us all as toxic. Fans get vocal because...
Who the heck will call her toxic, by the way? Who in his right mind?
We care. We love these characters, we love these worlds. When we point out something that doesn't feel right, it's not because we just want to be difficult. It's because these characters and stories mean something to us. Sonic...
She's absolutely right.
It's no secret that I have a deep love for Eastern games, so when Where Winds Meet landed on my radar this past year, I was definitely intrigued. An ARPG with MMO-ish things, wuxia game set in ancient China, beautiful character design, martial arts combat, open world exploration, and it's made by Eastern devs. Sign me up. When I saw that it was free to play, I got a little nervous. We all know how that can go. But I was glad to learn that the monetization isn't paying for power, no gameplay content locked behind paywalls. The gacha is pretty much all cosmetic focused, and there is a battle pass system with some progression perks, but the entire core experience is completely free. And
Wow. So I haven't heard of this game before, so this is going to be interesting. But I do love dynastic China. I remembered like taking the subject at university, Chinese history with all the dynasties, and whenever they set anything, do you remember Jade Empire? It kind of reminds me of that. That was a phenomenal game, by the way.
after I learned that, my tune changed from this is free to play to this is free to play. Fast forward through this past week, in the evenings, I'd sit down, snack in hand, thinking I'd play for an hour or two, and next thing I would know, it would be midnight, and I'd still be going. Now, I am not a young NPC anymore. No. I knew my sleep schedule would have
What are you on about? You're super young.
Regrets, but I didn't. I just couldn't put it down because of how many different things were begging for my attention. Unique boss fights, likable characters, co-op, fun and fluid combat where I am literally flying through the air and defying gravity. A gorgeous open world where I can just ride my horse around for hours if I want, and just beauty everywhere. The world, the NPCs, the ethereal character I made, obviously. And for me, it genuinely feels like they truly cared about making something fun. It might not be perfect. We'll talk about that, but the care really comes through. So thank you so much to Everstone Studio for partnering with me on this video and letting me really dig into this world. Let's dive in.
Man, I'm glad she's getting all of these sponsorships. When she says partnering, I imagine it means it's sponsored, but it sounds genuine, to be honest. It sounds like it's not something she's saying because she's being paid to. It's, to me, I'm just going to be honest about it. I'm just going to be straight. To me, it sounds like she already loved this game. She probably flipped the table when she heard that they were willing to sponsor her. And so she took the sponsorship because it's something she genuinely loves. That's how it conveys, if you will.
Okay, so first I need to tell you about something that genuinely blew my mind, and that was the absolute love given to the background NPCs in this game. You know the ones. The ones just standing around, the blacksmith hammering on the same spot on the anvil for eternity, the guard who says, I used to be an adventurer like you, in the exact same tone 47 times. Well, in Where Winds Meet, you can actually type to some of them. Like,
and of course his name is Wang, isn't it? Let me check it again. Yeah, Wang. Wang means king in Chinese, and it's one of the most typical surnames in China. It's one of the most common surnames in China. If you want to know how to pronounce it in Mandarin, is Wang. So the G is fully nasalized. You don't pronounce the G. You don't say Wang. In fact, that kind of sounds funny to the Chinese because it sounds like you're saying Wang Ge, which means Wang brother, and it's kind of a way to say, dude, if you will. So to like someone whose name is Wang. So no, it's pronounced Wang, and the tone is the second, so it's a rising tone, a bit like as if you were asking a question. So they have the same tone for the word for tea, which is cha. So 我喝茶, I drink tea, and 你叫什么名字?我叫王. So what is your name? My name is Wang. Maybe I should say 您贵姓 if you're asking for the surname. Whatever, this is not supposed to be a lesson of Chinese. Let's go.
47 times. Well, in Where Winds Meet, you can actually type to some of them. Like, physically type whatever you want, and they just respond to what you say, like actual people. And they know what you were thinking, because I was too. That can't possibly work well, right? But it does. I was actually kind of surprised by how much I liked this feature. It is super fun to just have normal conversations with random people you meet in the game. Honestly,
you know what I would do? I would type to them, you're a Muppet, and see what happens.
I feel like it is kind of revolutionary, but you let me know if I am forgetting another game that has done this before. For example, I was talking to this NPC who had a bandit problem, and instead of getting a quest marker that just said, go kill 10 bandits, we just started strategizing. What if he fake arrested me and brought me in as a prisoner to gain their trust? We workshopped the whole plan, my disguise, how we would sell it, the signal for when to strike. By the end, we'd become buddies. Or I was chatting with this hunter who said he had been framed for something. Again, we were strategizing how to exonerate him. Then somehow we ended up talking about...
It does say you're interacting with an AI bot, but it's, I mean, if it's well done, it's well done. I personally prefer, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I personally prefer when you have a dialogue in a game that has been handcrafted by a creator. So a bit like those dialogues you would get in Dragon Age Origins, if you will. I don't think anything like that could ever be achieved by an AI bot. With that being said, I can see how the feature could be fun. just not my personal preference, not something I would enjoy.
Disney World. He wanted to go, so naturally I had to warn him about Disney adults. And we had this whole conversation about whether or not he was a Disney adult and what that even means. At the end, he thanked me for the warning and said he didn't want to go anymore. What? I had just docked an NPC out of a vacation. The fact that this game just lets this happen, though, is pretty wild. Chatting with all of these characters, though, you know what it reminds me of?
Do you know anything?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, except instead of chatting with a mysterious diary that is definitely not evil, I am having a full conversation with characters about bandit heists and their problems. It is significantly less cursed, for the most part, but equally as captivating. And sometimes the NPCs will start sending you gifts. The more you talk to people, the deeper your relationships get. They unlock unique quests or give you perks. The game rewards you for caring about people, which, of course, that is what hooked me. Of course it is. I love a gifting system, okay? And I may or may not be taking screenshots of gifts NPCs have sent me. I might be building a folder of them now, but I am fine. That's fine. And with all...
Hey, if she's having fun, she's having fun. Who am I to judge? I would like to know, though, you say AAA does not want you playing this. I wonder if I'm being clickbaited. But then again, if I am being clickbaited, hey, hate the game, not the player.
Let's talk about the NPCs. We have to talk about how pretty this game is. Like, actually stunning to look at. I walked into my first village and just stopped. Sunlight was filtering through the trees, and there was this character in flowing robes, and I thought, all right, well, this must be a main quest NPC or someone super special, right? They're supposed to look good. But then I kept exploring, and so many characters look like this. The quest-giving characters, the random townspeople just going about their day. I am walking through villages, just staring at people, looking
harvestful
respectfully. And when you put them alongside characters in certain Western full-priced games, you get millions of dollars spent on characters that look like, well, that. But this free game...
Yeah, okay. Now you're talking background NPC. Let's call them out. Let's call them out for this nonsense. Nobody wants this nonsense. What on earth is this? Or this? Fable. I loved Fable 1, 2, and 3, finished all of them, but 3 was, I still finished it twice, so I mean. But Fable 1, it was fantastic. What on earth happened? So yeah, no, for sure.
They made sure to include attractive characters, and on top of that, every costume tells a story. You can see where they're from, what they do, you can tell someone probably spent weeks designing these outfits, and there are so many specific historically inspired designs, and clearly a lot of effort and respect was put into this. And for your own character, you can make someone just as beautiful. I spent an embarrassing amount of time in the character creator.
Just as beautiful as me? Huh? Well, I've seen a lot of men with long hair, so at least for once... I'm not going to be limited. Seriously, man. A lot of character creators is like, yeah, long hair, and then it's down to here. What the heck am I going to do with that? For once. I need to go to freaking ancient China. To, what is it, Ming Dynasty? Ming Chao? Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
And I will be spending even more in the future. Still some adjustments to make, but it was such a refreshing feeling to load into the creator and immediately be captivated by every single base character design. Even though Western localizers blessed us with their signature body type 1 and body type 2
Oh, damn them.
options. It actually was difficult to
I'm sorry, but that was body type.
us with their signature body
body type 1 and body type 2, but because it's not spaced, yeah, there you go. You've got body typal and typal. So it's like a bit like travelers, double L, single L, depending on where you're from. Will you look at that? That's inclusive enough.
type 1 and body type 2 options. It actually was difficult to choose which base model to start with, and I didn't have to download 5 mods. No hunting down Reddit tutorials at 2 a.m. while questioning my life choices. Just a really solid character creator with so many options. Beautiful.
Mod it, put female and male.
Rugged, magical, or whatever these are. And
I need to do it, guys. Why do you care? Why does it matter? It doesn't matter. Male and female.
Anything your heart desires, really. They put real effort into this. No laziness, no lecture on what your character should look like. They just built it, gave us all the tools we could want, and said, go wild.
Thank you.
Beyond all of the character love, the combat is a ton of fun too.
So you can have boobs and booty, which Western studios now say, oh, no, absolutely not. You can have transgender surgery scars, but you can't have booties. You can't have a booty. Booty.
To drop a bit of NPC lore on you, my first introduction to the wuxia genre happened on a high school field trip. One of my friends kept telling me about this movie she wanted to show me on the bus ride. Of course, it ended up being the all-time classic Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. I do not remember anything else about that trip that day, but I do remember sitting there on the bus, watching the movie on her phone and being completely absorbed in my first wuxia experience.
Yeah, I do remember that one. I watched that movie. It was kind of interesting. The thing is, though, when I was in high school, I think, yeah, we were like playing Mortal Kombat 1. Yeah.
I can confidently say, at least from my memory, this game captured
When I was in high school, no way. I was playing Tomb Raider 1. Yeah.
that vibe really, really well. Fluid wuxia combat, diving into enemies or pulling them to you from afar, disarming them. They even have this Tai Chi mechanic where you can throw whoever you're fighting as they try to attack you, including bears. It is there when you nail a parry, and the movement is everywhere. Triple jumps, wall running, gliding around. They just made this for people who love that wuxia fantasy.
No, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'll give it that. Nice movie. Nice games, because she talked about movies a second ago. There are serious problems with women's. I'm starting to lose it. Part 2 though, and yeah, so I think I did react to part 1. I hope it would be nice to start from part. Man, she's the only creator that can pull off a successful part 2. That's insane. The moment I do part 1 and it does well, I do part 2 and it's like collapsing in views. It's just what it is. Do you give lessons, background PCs? I've only been here for 12 years and still trying to figure this stuff out. Anyways, really appreciated this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good one.